This is Jay Clouse. He has helped thousands of creators turn their passion of content creation into a business.
So I think for me, it's always been important that I make content and build the business around what I continue to be interested in doing and not just follow whatever is working, because that can put you down a path that gets increasingly difficult to break out of.
And he has done this by turning content creation into a science.
Anything that is working will stop working at some point. You never permanently figure something out.
Today, we have the pleasure to have him on the show and learn from his thought process that can help you grow as a content creator. I'm Doc Williams, a no-code tool specialist and tech entrepreneur with over 12 years of experience. Let's get started. This is another episode with the Doc Williams podcast show, and we have the pleasure to be with who today?
My name is Jay Clouse. I'm the founder of Creator Science.
Awesome.
Creator Science is advanced creator education, trying to help people get a better return on attention. I'm trying out this new phrase. How do you like it?
I love it. And my phone went off.
My phone went off at the exact same time.
That is...
Is this like an Amber Alert? What's going on?
Crazy. Man, gotta calm this down.
I did the same thing. I'm like, uh-oh.
It's terrible. Well, thank you. That's great. And first of all, we're a fan of all that you do.
Thank you.
And seeing everything online. So when you're helping with that attention, first of all, that's a great... Did you come up with it?
Return on attention?
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm the first one to ever say it, but I don't see anybody else talking about it, so I'm going to take it.
Yeah, definitely. No, that's awesome right
well,
there.
It really hits the crux of what I care about and what I'm good at.
Yeah.
I recently bought a bunch of books on like the psychology and human behavior around attention, because so much of what we do is just built on the limited, scarce resource of people's attention. And I really struggled to get through a lot of the books that I was reading. It's not really where my interest is, and it's also not really my strength. There are a lot of people who are a lot better at teaching you how to get more attention. And a lot of those people I bring on the Creator Science podcast or on the Creator Science YouTube channel, and they are the ones that are teaching. When it comes to my strength, I feel like what I can do really well is say, let's look at what you're doing. Let's look at the attention that you're already capturing and find ways for you to capture some of that value yourself, for you to get a higher return on the attention that you're able to generate. And I'm going to lean into it.
I love it. I think you're doing a great job.
Thank you.
So, first of all, I love everything that you're doing, the community, all those things. The reason I think it was really beneficial and why I wanted you here is I think it's fascinating how you're open and transparent about what's going on with your business, how it's growing and all those things, but also mentioning how it's not a done product and where you want to go. I would love to know your thought process or kind of, the ebbs and flows of did you want a big team? Did you want to do this solo? Like all of those kind of things.
Yeah, I think if you're in the game for longer than, let's say 3 years, but I think probably about year 2, you start to realize this. Anything that is working will stop working at least as well at some point. You never permanently figure something out. Market changes, things outside your control change, other people get hip to the game and they start doing it better than you are. So like literally the only thing you can count on is change. And this is a war of attrition to do this style of business because you have to be resilient and willing to stand in the face of that change and change with it. So I'm on year 8 of the business now. I just got through like the 7th anniversary of doing stuff full time on my own, and I've seen a bunch of change cycles. And I think I've really come to learn and appreciate the constraints that I have that I want to maintain. And honestly, I made a lot of mistakes in the first like 3 or 4 years that I'm now and have been undoing to make a simpler, more elegant, more effective business. Because I think I fell in the trap that a lot of people do. It's not difficult to understand what people are doing. Let's give the example of Cody Sanchez. Did you go to her keynote today?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, let's not spoil this for the audience just yet, but you look at Cody Sanchez. She's publishing to TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn. She's got a newsletter. And you look at that and you're like, she's making videos. She's writing things. I could do what she is doing. I just have to get good at making the thing. And so like you can imagine yourself doing that. And so people tend to overcommit to too many things too quickly. You're wearing a great do less but better shirt right now. People tend to overcommit to too many things too quickly. And they don't understand the people they're modeling after, the business they're trying to do as like a solo creator. Cody Sanchez has spent $2.9 million on her content team this year so far. That's an insane figure. Insane figure. You can't compete with that. You can't expect to do the same quality of content and quantity without like being in the ballpark of this. You know what I mean? So that was like really great for me to see. I told her yesterday, we had dinner, and I said, I just want you to know that I think you're doing some of the most innovative stuff in content right now. And then she's like, I've spent $2.9 million on content this year. It's like, okay, well, that makes a lot of sense. And I'm going to hold myself to a slightly different standard. I won't say lower, but I can't hold myself to that standard without playing the same game. I'm not going to do that in my business. You know, I think what I've come to appreciate, long answer to your question, you can't model after somebody who is making investments and trade-offs and decisions that you're not willing to make. And if you don't know what decisions and trade-offs they're making, you don't know that you can follow their path. So you have to start from a place of what needs to be true for me, and make smart, restraint-based decisions to do the best with what you're willing to put forward.
I love that.
Yeah. So you mentioned some constraints like hiring. Everything is resource allocation at some point. Where are you putting your time and attention? Where are you putting your dollars in the business? And a lot of that will come from hiring. If you need more capacity to get more done, you're probably going to have to hire people, or you're going to have to put more of your personal capacity into it, which there's a limit. And I don't really want to hire more full-time help. I think this business is right-sized for what I want it to be. And so I also have to recognize that there's probably a ceiling on what I can do. You just got to be honest about that. I think a lot of people aren't aware or honest, and they try to do too much too quickly and they burn out.
Were you always honest with yourself with that, or did it come over time?
This requires awareness, and I didn't realize I was being dishonest or delusional. I was just ignorant to what I could do as one person and for how long. And the people I was modeling after, what they were putting in from like a time and attention and investment standpoint. So I didn't realize I was deluding myself, but I was. And unfortunately, I think that's probably a lesson that most people are going to have to learn the hard way.
Makes sense. I've got 2 questions for you with this. This is great. Thank you. This is great. I saw a post a while back, and I believe this is the case. Your wife joined you full time, right?
Yep, Mal. She joined full time.
So let me ask you this. Was it intentional to, like, did it just work together? And you're like, yeah, we work together. We're married. This should work. Or was it, I need the help. You have different skill set. I need this to, how did it happen?
All the above. My wife is wonderfully talented, and I watched her do things for other companies that I thought, damn, I wish you were doing that for our business. Like, in my mind, I was even thinking of it as our business because we are partners in life and in business. And we've always thought, like, we want to have kids. We're having a baby in the next few weeks. And the dream was always, we want the business to support our lifestyle, and we want to work from home, and we don't want to pay for or have childcare. We want to be the childcare. We want to be here for the kids. And I feel like I've just been sprinting for years to make that a possible reality. It was actually last year at Craft and Commerce. So like exactly a year ago, she was here with me. I was speaking, but there were 2 talks. One was Bonnie Christine, who's actually going to be speaking here shortly. And the second was Amy Porter. And Bonnie talked about hiring and delegating, a problem that I've always had. And Amy talked about kind of self-sabotaging and getting in your own way. And I was doing both of those things. So I sat with Mal in the lobby of the Inn at 500, and I said, I really think it's time that we figure out how we can bring you into the business. And it took some work because we're partners in everything in life, but like a business relationship, the business demands certain things and it doesn't care about your relationship. So you have to set up guardrails and be careful about how you bring that into your relationship. So I think we did a good job of stepping into it slowly. We had that conversation in June of last year. She didn't start until January of this year. We made the decision, we worked through it. She gave her previous employer a lot of notice to put them in a really great spot. And also, frankly, I wanted a few months to get the business to have a better cash flow position, because it's non-trivial to bring on a full-time employee. It's an expensive proposition. Like the expenses that it takes to run the business now are higher than they've ever been. So it's been a slow ramp up and it's been awesome. I think when done well, I think we're doing it well. I hope we continue to do it well. When done well, it's kind of an amazing, like, ideal life situation. You know, instead of us having separate jobs, or maybe just one of us having a job and one of us being at home with the kids, we get to spend all day, every day together with like our person, our favorite person in the world. And we get to be home with the kids. And we have like an uncapped potential earning possibility. Like, this is the dream scenario. And we do have really complementary skill sets. So I'm very, very excited about this. And I think it's just like the best life I could hope for. But it's not without its risks and challenges. So you just have to be thoughtful.
Love it. Thank you. I was thinking about that, and thank you for that answer. These are thoughtful answers. These are great. This is just great. I also remember, because I pretty much Twitter stalk you for a while.
Okay.
You know, it's in the ecosystem. Everyone's
Yeah.
around the. But I was thinking about. I remember when you were posting about starting to hit certain subscriber numbers on YouTube. And you're like, wow, this was like not expected. And I remember it was a couple months ago, maybe it was close to 8 months ago, like some of your interviews were just popping off, just like going there. What's your relationship with subscriber numbers, what you want to do on YouTube? How do you relate that to the overall business and what you want to do?
I think I've always done a good job of doing what I want to do and being in touch with that and being in alignment with that, despite quote unquote what's working. And I think that has a cost. You know, let me give you a very specific example. We had an interview with Jenny Hoyos. She's incredible. She's super smart. She like walked us through a perfect process for making shorts on YouTube. That video very quickly hit 1 million views. Today it's like going to hit 3 million views soon. That drove probably a third of the subscribers that are on the channel today. And the obvious next step would be to create more content related to shorts. One, because it worked. Two, because now literally the majority of our subscribers at that time, we knew were interested in shorts. I'm not that interested in shorts. So I didn't do that. And I think if you want your business as a creator to check the box of fulfilling and interesting over the long term, you have to make the business bend to your curiosity and your interests. And sometimes that is counter to what the data is telling you should make content about. So I think for me, it's always been important that I make content and build the business around what I continue to be interested in doing and not just follow whatever is working, because that can put you down a path that gets increasingly difficult to break out of. And so, you know, again, there's a cost to it. I probably slowed our growth. If we wanted more subscribers, we could have just done more videos about shorts. And sometimes we do make compromises that are a little bit counter. Like we started the channel, we were doing interviews about Instagram and course sales, and we quickly found like, actually, because we talked to so many creators about YouTube, those videos tend to perform better. Let's just focus on videos about YouTube for right now. And we'll break out of that soon. But we did make that a little bit of a priority in the near term. But anytime we feel like we're starting to get pushed into a corner, we very intentionally go elsewhere to kind of change it. And that's true of all of our content across all platforms. Is I want to appeal to a pretty broad swath of creators. the through line is really, again, like helping people get a better return on attention. And I really focus on the business model more than anything else.
That's interesting. One last section. This is the roundup or quick fire. Or this is we we were thinking about. We have this section. It's called like the outer rim of YouTube. This is a section of we can tell you about certain creators and ask like, have you heard of them? Or if you want to like, hey, this is who I'm watching right now. Which one would you prefer us to do?
Let's do what I'm watching right now, because I have a hunch that anyone you ask me if I'm aware of them, the answer is going to be no.
No.
I am, I'll give you a couple answers. The content that I tend to consume is I like to hear from other creative people about the creative process, but get out of my box a little bit. So I like listening to Song Exploder a lot. Are you familiar with it? It's a podcast. I think it's like one of the best podcasts ever made. It's been going for a long time. But basically, this guy will talk to an artist. Like he'll talk to Billie Eilish. And they will get the stems from one of her songs. And she will explain piece by piece how that song came together. Like how she came up with that song, when different elements entered in. And they will just like literally play isolated parts of the track. So you can hear like, oh, this is the demo of this piece. And then this is the beat that she made 5 years ago. And that they pulled that in. And then at the end, they play the song in its entirety. It's an amazing format for audio. But I just get a lot of inspiration out of hearing creative people talk about their process. And I like it when it's a more traditional art form than like today's content, quote unquote. Because the other person I'll talk about is David Perel, who I think is doing an incredible job with his new podcast, How I Write. He talks to writers about the craft of writing. And what he and I really, really agree on right now is that we're all over-indexing on content made today. We're all just consuming content that was made today. And there's literally centuries of information out there of things that have stood the test of time, truths that have been realized. And we're devaluing that for stuff that was made today that won't stand the test of time, and often is reinventing a wheel that is decades or centuries old. So I really like his approach to things and how he's dipping into more of the classics and talking to writers who have been doing it for decades. And, you know, I think a lot of our society is ageist. We really do index towards younger people doing things right now and discount really experienced, thoughtful, smart, successful people who have figured shit out, you know, and we're going to come around and come to the same conclusions 5 years from now and do it the hard way when we could just change the information that we are consuming by opting out of some of the For You feeds on our apps.
Very interesting. I love it. Now I have to go look up these podcasts and shows.
How I Write is good. Song Exploder is good. Dissect by Cole Kushna is good. I like Good One, which is a podcast about jokes. I like Switched on Pop. Yeah, I like when people break down the creative process. Oh, I want to give a shout out to my friend Jay Clouse, who just started a podcast called How Stories Happen. It's like Dissect, but for stories. So it's very fun.
Good times. Well, listen, man, we appreciate your time and energy being here. This is great. Where can the good people find you at?
You can search Jay Clouse, whatever platform that you're on, or Creator Science, creatorscience.com.
Love it. Thanks, man. Thanks for your time.
Thanks for having me.